Here we are at Zoomtopia 2023 in San Jose, California, and I'm with Zeus Kerravala. How's it going, Zeus?
Oh, it's going great. It's always nice to be in San Jose, I guess.
But, I love being here.
Yeah. It is San Jose, but I do love Zoomtopia. I think it's always a good show. It's always great to hear from the users as to what they're doing with the product.
Absolutely, and it's sunny outside, it's happy inside, because that's another keyword or theme for the event this week. And lots and lots of big announcements. One announcement I wanted to talk to you about, Zeus, specifically was the Zoom Docs. Now that was a big announcement today. What's going on there?
That was the big one, right? And we foreshadowed a little bit, I guess, on the last time we did one of the videos. And this is one that when I first heard they were doing docs, I thought the world doesn't need another document platform, right? Like we've got Word's the dominant platform, we've got Google Docs, but then on the pre-briefing, they did explain though that they're trying to put an end to 8.5 by 11. And if you think about something like Microsoft Word, it's meant to replace an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, or it's a little bigger, I guess, in the UK. And then with the idea of printing it, but we don't do that anymore. And so I do think the term docs is almost underselling what it is. It's really more kind of this live collaborative workspace that you can create a doc, but you can also insert wikis and charts and tables and co-create on it. And it's meant for teams to work together, not an individual. And when they explained that, then it made a lot more sense, because what Zoom is trying to do is to change the way people work and giving them better tools to do that. I do think one of the challenges, though, we are so used to the 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that everybody works that way, all the way down to kids in school. And I think getting people to think a little differently about how they want to use a docs platform is going to be a bit of a challenge. But I think, we've seen these generational trends before. I do think it is time to put an end to something that, that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, which we don't really use anymore. We're supposed to be moving to this paperless society, but we're replicating paper digitally, which to me doesn't make a lot of sense.
You're right. So Zoom's not looking to specifically just replace the Word document or Google Docs. It's looking to disrupt the Office suite, and make it more of a hybrid kind of compatible solution, I suppose, is it?
Yeah, it's really more of a live workspace where if you're co-creating, it's meant, so you think of Word as being meant for an individual, right? Zoom Docs is meant for teams to use, to be able to go in and co-collaborate and co-create things. And I talked to some of the Zoom people that have tried it out, and they said for them, the aha moment became when a lot of people were in the document trying to co-create things, and one person can be in there creating tables while someone else is editing the text and change the font, and you can do all that at once. Where if you try to do that with Word, I'm not even sure you could try and do that with Word, but it's meant for a different era, and it's something that really hasn't evolved since the rise of the word processor, right? While we've got more bells and whistles in there, this is the same word that we used when we had Clippy, right?
Yeah, well, it's not quite Clippy, but I know what you mean.
I miss Clippy though.
I miss Clippy.
Yeah.
So looking at the future of Zoom Docs, I mean, what do you think? I mean, crystal ball moment, are they going to build it out to be that ultimate replacement for the Office suite? Are they really going after Microsoft here and potentially even Google?
Yes, although they wouldn't confirm whether they're going to build a PowerPoint, like a presentation type of tool or a spreadsheet. But I do think that's in their heads. I do think they're thinking about the complete collaboration experience, right? And so they built up Mail and Calendar, released that earlier this year. And I think the question is, why would I buy it all from Zoom? And this comes down to AI, right? And so if I am trying to apply artificial intelligence to a user's data that they work with, then I need a complete set of data, right? And you could argue that Google can't deliver that. Certainly Microsoft can't deliver it. Their applications are all in silos. And what's an expression data scientists use, right? Good data leads to good insights. Well, partial data leads to fragmented insights. And so if you're trying to understand a user's behavior by looking at the documents they create, the emails they send, the chats they have, the presentations they do, that's the end game for Zoom. And so think about all the things that would make that up. To me, that's would give you an indication of where they're going.
So ultimately, to have AI across all those touch points, all those channels, however we communicate, collaborate, make sure it's AI induced in some way.
And even at a more basic level, just search, right? They announced a unified search this morning, global unified search. And I use Zoom, and I turned on their email feature, and I thought, I could use Gmail or I could use Mail in here. Not a lot of difference. And then when I was talking with Zoom about that, they said, well, now if you can apply search across it, how would that benefit you? And I thought about that because often people will send me a message in email or they'll send it in chat, and I can't remember which. And so I'm searching both, and that's a waste of time. In fact, one of the data points of my research is users say they spend about 40% of their time managing work, right? Just managing all the stuff they do. Because why? Because we make the user the integration point for all this technology, right? And so if Zoom can use search and AI and things like that to take that 40% and cut it down to even 30%, 20%, just think how much time you're going to return to the user, versus the way we work today, which is really inefficient, right?
Really interesting keynote today. Lots came out of that, but one thing that is, guaranteed almost is that Zoom will continue to innovate at a rate of knots. I mean, is that a differentiator, do you think, for Zoom versus some of its main competitors?
The pace of innovation?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a great platform built. I think they've got a clear idea of where they want to go. I don't think they're the one vendor in the space, too, that hasn't ceded Microsoft's #1 position, right? That you look at most of the other vendors, it's like we're going to coexist with them, we're going to interoperate with them. Zoom say, no, we're going to go right at them and see if we can disrupt them with features. And I think the thing with Zoom is the product's always been very easy to use, to the point where my dad can use it, grandparents use it, things like that. And very rarely do you see a company be able to span enterprise and consumer. In fact, think of the history of tech vendors. How many vendors have been able to span both sides of that, right? And so, but if you're going to build something for consumer, you got to build it to be easy. And so they've rolled out a lot of features, but they made them very easy to use, and they're very easy to find, much more so than most of their competitors. And I do think you're going to see that pace of innovation continue. They're a very good engineering firm.
Yeah, absolutely. And they mentioned ecosystem today. That played a big part at the end of the keynote in terms of this kind of ecosystem play. Last year it was a platform play. This ecosystem play now, it feels like they really are trying to take over the world. What do you think?
Yeah, well, to me, the term platform is thrown around way too much, right? And so what is a platform? Like, a platform isn't a bundle of products. That's just a bundle of products, right? To me, a platform is something that's got a large ecosystem around it. So if you think of all the big software companies, Salesforce, Microsoft, companies like that, what's the one commonality they have? They're all platforms with massive ecosystems around them. And so they talk about 2,500 partners in their ecosystem. To me, whoop-de-doo. 2,500, I guess that's interesting. But when you get to 25,000, right, that's when it becomes interesting. And that's what somebody like a Salesforce has. It's you want the ecosystem thinking, I have to build it for your platform first, right? Because you're easy to work with and because you've got the share. And so they feed off each other. And I think that's the approach that they're taking. And I'm looking forward to future Zoomtopias, seeing how their expo hall grows, right? And seeing less infrastructure partners and more of those ecosystem partners.
Yeah, certainly the one to watch. But Zeus, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Oh, thank you. As always, I'm happy to be on.